In this episode today, I'm going to share a simple 3-step process with you that will help you start decluttering your relationships, specifically your extended relationships. And if you don't know what that means, it's simply anyone outside of your immediate family. So whoever you consider immediate family, anyone outside of that is an extended relationship. The reason for calling them this is that if you focus on them too often, too frequently, or dedicate too much time to them, they'll leave you feeling extended, meaning you'll feel like you don't have enough time for yourself, your family, and the things that are most important to you. The reason this is so important is because if you look at, I'll give you this example. If you look at a tree in the winter or in the fall, it starts to lose its leaves, right? And we're kind of like a tree. All the leaves and everything, those are the extended relationships that are taking energy from us. In the fall or in a stressful season or whenever we just feel overwhelmed and feeling like we're going to become burned out, we have to take a step back and declutter. Just like a tree does, it drops its leaves and conserves its energy for what's most important, which is the trunk. So your immediate family is what's most important. So that's why this decluttering relationships, especially extended relationships, is so important. I'm going to give you a simple 3-step process, but first I want to talk about the 3 types of relationships that you have in your life. The first type of relationship that I want to talk about with you today is what I call old relationships. So these are people that you used to be close with, but your lives have kind of headed in 2 different directions. So there's a million reasons that I'm not going to cover in this because I want to keep this short and to the point, but there's a million reasons why your lives could have headed in different directions. Some people that fall into this category, at least in my life and what I see on a regular basis, are like high school friends, college friends, ex-coworkers that you had. And in my own life, I recently had an ex-coworker reach out to me and they wanted to get together. And this is so close to probably what you're dealing with, is like you don't have time for the people that you care about most and for yourself. So why are we dedicating time to these people? And I have people come to me saying like, Kyle, I don't know. I don't have enough time for myself. I don't have enough time for my spouse and my kids and my family. But then they tell me about how they haven't been to high school for 30 years and reconnected with somebody on Facebook and went out to dinner with them. And I'm like, no, like that, we need to prioritize our relationships. And it's so hard to do. And that's why I wanted to make this episode. But the point is that it's okay if your friends from high school are categorized by you as old relationships. It's also okay if your friends from high school are some of your best friends still. I know plenty of people where their friends from high school are their best friends to this day. They see each other all the time. So I want to make it clear that when I'm talking about this stuff, I believe every single person in the world has their own unique vision, I should say, of what they want their life to be like and what an extraordinary life to them would be like. So I'm not telling you who should be in what category. I just want to give you the categories, and it's up to you to decide who fits where so that you can have the life that you want for yourself, your spouse, and your kids. So the first category is old relationships. The second type of extended relationships that we have in our lives are what I call maintenance relationships. So these are people that you want to maintain a relationship with, but you don't necessarily want or feel the need to see them on a consistent basis. And a perfect example of these people would be family members that you don't see all year except for around the holidays. So you go 11, 12 months without seeing them, you get together, you talk about all the great things that happened in your life, all the hard things you went through, and then you go on your way back to your own lives. And these are some of my favorite relationships because they are busy focusing on what is most important to them, and it allows you to focus on what's most important to you and your family. So they're great relationships to have. Most people fall into this maintenance relationship category, at least in my life and in the lives of people that I talk to frequently. But when you put people in this category, at least in my experience, I've had people tell me that you don't like this person, you don't like that person. And it's like, it's not that I don't like them. It's that they're a maintenance relationship. They are somebody that I see at the holidays. They're somebody that I see at a birthday party or something like that. But I don't want to go on vacation with them. I don't want to go out to dinner on a Saturday night with them. I have more people in my life that I want to make time for, and these are not in that category of relationship. So it can sound cold when you categorize people like this, but this is what it takes to have a more intentional life. And before this, I was dedicating my time to all sorts of people all over the place, didn't have enough time for myself, and that's why I wanted to share these things with you. At the end of the day, maintenance relationships are great to have. They are some of the best relationships that I have, and just knowing where people fit in your life is what's most important. The third type of extended relationship that you have in your life are what I call growth relationships. So these are the people that you want to spend a lot of time with outside of your immediate family, of course, but they are growth relationships. So there are many people that could fit into this, but the way I look at it is, if you have a hobby that you would love to do, find somebody that already has that hobby. Maybe somebody at work or somebody that you know in your neighborhood. Maybe they have a hobby and you see them doing it, or you talk to them about it once in a while. That could be one of your growth relationships, meaning they have a hobby that you want to get involved in, and they can kind of show you how they got into it. That is one example of a growth relationship. They could help you get deeper into a hobby that you want to do. Another type is a healthy outlet relationship. What I mean by this is that if you have somebody in your life that has some sort of healthy outlet that they do, like hiking or cycle classes or going to the gym in general, going on walks. If you have somebody in your life like that and you love to go to cycle class or you love to go hiking, that person could be a growth relationship for you, because they would be the person that helps you get into hiking more. They're the person that you could go to cycle class with on a regular basis. You have typically with growth relationships, you would have similar goals, and they don't necessarily have to have the lifestyle that you currently have, but a growth relationship would be somebody that has the lifestyle that you would like to live, or a similar lifestyle that you would like to live. I believe everybody has their own unique version of what an amazing life would be. So in terms of lifestyle, it's hard to say, I want everything that person has. And I don't think that doing that is healthy, but it's like, I love that person's relationship with their spouse. I want them to be one of my growth friends where I can hang out with them and their spouse, with my spouse, and we can kind of see how their relationship works and take ideas from them. So this is the third category, growth relationships. I'm going to wrap up really quick just by saying maintenance relationships are great to have because they allow you to focus on what's important. But growth relationships are amazing at the same time because they help you carry out and live out what is most important, if that makes sense. Like, they help you get into that hobby. They help you go hiking more, to cycle class more. They help you reach your goal because they have similar goals. You want to invest money, they're always investing money and talking about it so you can get ideas from them. Or they have a great relationship so you can get ideas from them, and so on. So those are the three categories or types of extended relationships that we have in our lives: old relationships, maintenance relationships, and growth relationships. All right, so now that you understand that, I want to give you the simple process for how to actually implement this thought process and this strategy into your life. If you've ever heard any of my stuff, I talk about your three identities. If you are married and you have kids, you have three identities. I'll explain it very quickly. If you are a single person with no kids, you have one identity. That's you as an individual. If you're in a relationship of any form, you have two identities. you as an individual and then you as a couple. So there's things you do as an individual and there's things that you guys do as a couple. Once you have kids and if you're married, then you have 3 identities. You don't get rid of one, you don't mix and match them. You then have yourself as an individual, you and your spouse as a couple, you, your spouse, and your kids as a family. So there's 3 of them. So my point about this is that you can use this, what I'm about to share with you, for yourself as an individual, you and your spouse as a couple, or as a family. But doing this the first time, I recommend you just simply don't worry about the 3 different identities in your life and just write people down. That is the most straightforward way to do this, what I'm about to share with you. So all you do is get a sheet of paper and put 3 columns on that sheet of paper. So the first one would be old relationships. The second one would be maintenance relationships. And the third one would be growth relationships. Each column, just write down, okay, who in my life is an old relationship? Who does not really relate to the way I live now? Like, I hang out with them and I don't enjoy it, or I hang out with them and we have nothing in common, or just people that you're like, I'm tired of hanging out with them. And for now, this is not set in stone. So you may be like, I'm so sick of Bill and Susie. They're going in old relationships, right? Because nothing in Striving Satisfied is set in stone, because nothing is black and white. Then move over to maintenance relationships. Who are the people in your life that you would like to spend more time with, that they may be people you only see at the holidays, but you're like, I kind of want to make sure that I focus on them as a maintenance relationship and maybe see them every other month instead of just at the holidays. So there's that aspect of it. But there's also people that you may be spending a lot of time with currently that you're like, I kind of want to move them over into this maintenance category where I don't need to see them all the time. They're kind of, whatever the reasoning is, but I don't need to see them all the time. I don't need to keep going to dinner all the time, but I don't want to just completely never see them. I want to maintain a relationship with them. And then the growth relationships, this is most important, and it's probably the hardest to figure out for yourself, but think of hobbies and, like I said, healthy outlets, goals that you have, lifestyle desires that you have, ways of living that you have, and think of people that you know, whether it's at work or in your neighborhood or in your family, that have whatever it is that you want in one specific area. They have the hobby you want. They go to cycle class or they go hiking a lot. They have one similar goal to you. They have a great relationship or they're great parents. Put those people in the growth relationships category and start making more time for those people. So that's the 3-step process. Just get a sheet of paper, 3 columns, old relationships, maintenance relationships, growth relationships, and start filling in those categories. If you want to take it to the next level, focus on yourself as an individual, or you and your spouse as a couple, or you, your spouse, and your kids as a family, and do it strictly for those identities. And you'll be able to get more clear. If you do it as a family, it's like, who in our life has kids that are great kids that I want my kids to hang out with more? That would go in the growth category. Perfect example. The last thing that I want to leave you with is just a simple thought process that will help you complete these 3 steps. Just to wrap this episode up really quick, this is the thought process that I've used in my own life to think through where people go. And this is just one aspect, but this will wrap up the episode, and I'm sure it will really help you think through everything. But be conscious of how you feel before, during, and after hanging out with a person or a group of people. 3 quick examples is, number 1, if they are a person that before you ever even hang out with them, like you schedule something with them, and then before you even get to hang out, they've rescheduled 3 times, or they get the details all messed up and they are trying to blame you for messing up the details or not doing something, blah, blah, blah. Those people may need to be moved to maintenance or old relationships. The second thing is during. If you're hanging out with them and they're constantly, just they don't make you feel good when you're hanging out with them. You know the people. They may need to be moved to the maintenance or old relationships category. That's all there is to it. And then after hanging out with someone or a group of people, how do you feel? Are you like, that was a great time, I'd like to do it again? Or are you like, I don't know why I do that to myself every time? If you feel like that, those people can be moved to maintenance or old relationships as well. So that's a very simple way of thinking through this. I really hope this helps you and your family.